Hi, everyone. It's Gerry Dulac along with Ray Fittipaldo. We're at Mile High Stadium in Denver, where the Steelers won for the second week in a row, 13-6 over the Denver Broncos. It's the first time they started 2-0 on the road since the 1999 season. They're the only team in the NFL right now to win both games on the road to start their season. And Ray, it really got ugly in the second half with all those penalties, and this is the way the Steelers win games. 10-0 halftime lead. Their defense bails out the offense, but they did score a touchdown today, which is a step forward.
I mean, listen, this is exactly how Mike Tomlin wants to play, and you heard Arthur Smith talk about it on Thursday as well. He thinks these types of games are beautiful. Now, the execution on offense in the second half wasn't great, but, the first half was good, and the most important thing, Gerry, they came out of here with a W.
Ray, Steelers had 189 yards offense in the first half. They were moving up and down the field, had a 12-play drive, had a 13-play drive. They had 13 first downs. And then in the second half, it all changed. They were sputtering on offense. They couldn't convert third downs. They had only 62 yards offense and only 3 first downs in the second half. Now, some of that was because of penalties. Yep. We saw the George Pickens, that was in the first half, the 51-yarder, get wiped out by a penalty, several other big plays. But the Steelers were benefactors of some pass interference calls that set up 2 Chris Boswell field goals. But 19 penalties all told for 202 yards. It was really getting a little difficult there to watch.
Yeah, Gerry, that was one ugly football game. But give the Steelers credit for finding a way to win. You mentioned all the penalties the Steelers had. Most of them on offense. 3 holding calls, 1 on Dan Moore, 2 on Broderick Jones. After the second Jones holding call, they yanked him out of the game, and he didn't see the field again. Yeah,
you almost felt bad for Broderick Jones, Ray, to be in that situation, to get yanked from the game unceremoniously like that. But you could tell Mike Tomlin, and he sounded it after the game too, upset if that even occurred. It was 3 penalties in 6 plays that he committed. It was a false start and 2 holding penalties, and one of them wiped out that 51-yard pass to George Pickens, in which Justin Fields made a great play rolling to his right and firing downfield. They were going to rotate the right tackles. Troy Fautanu played the first 2 series. They put Broderick Jones in, and then he commits those penalties, yanked from the game, and never appeared again. To his credit, he spoke about it after the game, just said he wasn't locked in, and he said fortunately it didn't cost him the game. But nobody likes to see that, and like I said, you almost felt bad for the guy.
Yeah, I mean, the Steelers have invested a lot of draft resources in their offensive line the last couple of years, and really Broderick Jones is the top guy. They traded up to get him, number 14 overall pick, and they need him to develop into the player they think he could be. He's just not there just yet. Troy Fautanu, we've talked about it a lot, Gerry. He is older than Broderick Jones. He's more polished at this point, and he's just a better football player. So Jones still has some growing to do here in year 2.
Yeah, Troy Fautanu starting for the first time at right tackle. The Steelers actually wanted to do that in the preseason, but he sprained his MCL in that first preseason game. But that just goes to show what they think of this guy. They believe he's their second best offensive lineman, and they want him in the game. And Dan Moore has played so well on the left side. Yeah. There's no reason to take him out. He hasn't done anything to be taken out of the game.
No, 1 holding call today, but overall, Gerry, he's been fine. Did you notice Zach Frazier today?
No.
That's the best news for a center, right? And once again, the offense...
Except for the snap.
Except for the snap,
Justin Fields got plunked with.
They have to get that corrected, but once again, 141 rushing yards. Last week, a similar yard mark on the ground. So at the very least, I know the offense isn't coming together, but the rushing game has been there for them to lean on the first 2 weeks of the season.
Ray, Justin Fields has never started 2-0 in his career, but he is, and you have to give him props. He didn't turn the ball over again, despite trying to remember how many attempts he had. But he threw for only 117 yards. But in the first half, he had 129.5 passer rating, and he was making plays with his arm and his feet. Kind of went a little wayward in the second half. But, this is 2 games now, and he's going to come home, and he's going to start against the Chargers. At least that is the plan, because they're going to continue to rest Russell Wilson. And it had to be extremely disappointing, which I know it was, for Russell Wilson not to play here in Denver against his former team.
Yeah, they gave him a game ball, but you had to feel for Russ coming back to a place he was cut 2 years in to a 5-year contract, and things really ended sour for him. But, getting back to Fields, Gerry, he hasn't turned the ball over. And I don't have the NFL stats in front of me, but the Steelers are +5 in turnover margin in the first 2 weeks of the season. If that's not number one, that's in the top 5, and that's going to win you a lot of football games.
Yeah, and 2 more interceptions from the defense, Ray. You know, what's actually funny, if you watch this game and you saw how inept that Broncos defense their offense is. Bo Nix looks like Kent Nix, for gosh sakes, for most of the time, and he ends up with 246 yards passing, twice as much as Justin Fields.
Yeah.
But that Broncos offense actually outgained the Steelers 295, I think, to 251, and you would have never thought that watching this game how bad they look.
How many games can you win when you continue to have that conservative offensive approach? Sunday's home opener against the Chargers. Listen, the Chargers are 2-0. They're averaging 24 points per game. Now, I understand they haven't played world beaters. They beat a bad Panthers team today. But you would think they have to open it up a little bit more, give a little bit more to trust to Justin Fields in that game if they're going to have a chance to beat the Chargers.
Yeah, the Chargers have actually allowed fewer points than the Steelers in these first 2 games. They've only allowed 13, and the Steelers have allowed 16. I asked Cam Hayward, to your point, I asked him afterward in the locker room, I said, can you keep winning like this? And he said, hopefully. And, you know, T.J. Watt said, hey, look, at this point in his career, he goes, I don't care if they're ugly. I just want to win. Yeah. And right now, that's what they're doing. And they're relying on their defense. Is probably the way it should be until the offense can get, I don't want to say get the wrinkles ironed out, because we saw those long drives in the first half. Again, Ray, 12 plays, 13 plays. They do move the ball. They just don't produce points.
Yeah, it's nice for a young football team. And, you know, take Cam Hayward, T.J. Watt out of the equation. This is still a very young football team, especially on offense. To find ways to win on the road, you got to think that's going to build confidence for the guys in that locker room, especially the young guys. So they have one more road game this month at Indianapolis after next week's home opener. They'll have to have a similar formula if they want to get it done there as well.
Yeah, well, the Steelers finally get to come home Sunday against the L.A. Chargers. That's a 1 p.m. kickoff. Ray and I will be with you after that game to wrap it up, and we'll see what happens. Maybe they can actually score more than 1 touchdown, or maybe they can hold, or maybe the other team might score more than 1 touchdown against this Steeler offense. For our videographer Brian Batko on the other side of that camera, Ray Fittipaldo, I'm Gerry Dulac. You're watching PostGazette.com.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.